Hello, fellow BTMS students. My colleagues and I are doing a virtual career fair where we will be interviewing people who uphold the careers you guys aspire to have in the future. Today, we are interviewing a vice principal by the name of Tanya Greene, who is a longtime principal at BTMF. Welcome, Ms. Greene.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. The first question that I have for you is, what motivates anyone to become a school vice principal?
Well, I could speak for the motivation of myself. It did take me a while to decide on what my long-term career would be. I always knew that I wanted to work with children. And throughout my career journey, I've had the opportunity to work with children in various different settings. I'm now here in the educational level because I wanted to give myself the opportunity to explore all levels. So now I'm in the education field. And I think what motivated me to want to be in a leadership position is just the idea of being a part of a community that makes decisions. I grew up in Patterson, and so I wanted to be a part of change and change in a good way. I always felt that I had a lot of good ideas and that I was able to motivate others to do well and to succeed. I just have that about me that I just like to get out there and try new things and see children smile from all ages. So it inspired me, and I went on to school and said, this is in order to be a part of that team, I needed to enhance my education. And so that's what I did. And I just kept going one foot after the other in Patterson school system. And that's where I intend to stay.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're
It's
welcome.
good that we have people who were raised here and brought up here so they know how to work with the ones who are also raised here and brought up here.
Absolutely.
So the next question that I have for you is, what should a vice principal expect of their teachers and staff members?
Well, I don't expect anything from anyone that I wouldn't expect from myself. Um, Creativity is the most important thing. We can't be so set on our ways that we don't have room for creativity. Things are changing every single day. Your generation even is so different from the way I was raised and the things that I had. You have more available to you. So I look for compassion also, because times are changing. Things are not the same. The availability, the access to services, getting things done, we take that for granted sometimes. And sometimes that compassion is not there because everyone doesn't have the same affordability that someone else may have. So being understanding and working with students in a way that takes them outside of the classroom, even thinking outside the box as to how you can help, your students as if they were your own children. I'm expecting you to be with your children in the classroom and teach them and work with them as if they were your own.
Thank you for that, and I
You're
totally agree with you.
welcome.
I'm gonna ask Jennifer if she has anything to ask you.
Sure.
Hi, Ms. Green.
Hi, Jennifer.
I have a few questions to ask you.
Sure.
What do you like about being a vice principal?
Oh my goodness. I actually love being a vice principal. And I don't even know. It's just weird. I never even saw myself in this position until I got further into the career of being with children and being with families. I always started out as a therapist, so I never even thought about being a vice principal. But now that I'm doing this and now that I'm in the role, it just gives me such an opportunity, not only to lead, but to also, again, just be in that area where children are and hear what their concerns are and actually address them. I feel like I have a say so and making things happen for them. And it's important that we hear what you guys have to say. It's not about what we want, but what's going to make your road easier so that we can help you get there. So I'm enjoying that part of it. Being at Kennedy has allowed me to really be creative and to do things that you guys are interested in, not what the adults are saying is necessary, but what really actually works for you. So I'm enjoying that.
The next question that I have is, what does someone need to become a vice principal? What I mean by this is it could be two answers that you can give, like education wise, like what degree would they need or something like that, or you can say like personality trait wise. So.
Well, you and I both know that anyone can go to school and get a degree. And they don't have to have the best personality. They may not even be able to work with people, but now they have this degree and now they're there. I would say, as far as education, you would definitely need a master's in educational leadership. With some time spent in the field of education. And you would also have to pass a state test, which is about 3 hours long, and it's quite costly. But that's not to discourage you. The 3 hours is for your benefit. It gives you the opportunity to really think about what your answers are without feeling like you have to be rushed. So I know when people hear 3-hour exams, they're like, oh, no, forget that. No, you need that time to really make sure that you put down what your thoughts are about what's being asked of you. In terms of what I think is needed, if you are not flexible and you are not a people person, you're going to have a really hard time. Because we are in the realm of dealing with all ages, all backgrounds, and all types of socioeconomic needs. And that you cannot afford to be one way. Because with that, you are going to constantly run into challenges. The challenges that I'm running into are welcomed, and they're learned, they're experiences where I learn from and I grow from. So with that, I am flexible at every level. I'm flexible. And I think that just goes along with my original background of counseling. I'm not saying you need counseling to be in this position, but it has helped me to be able to engage, to be able to see exactly what's going on with my families and how I can be a resource to them and connect them with outside referrals, because we're not always able to help our families and our students within the confines of a school building. Sometimes we have to be able to make those connections outside of the building. And you have to be willing to do that. It doesn't just happen where I say, okay, I'm just going to call. You have to be a willing participant. And it's not a completed job if I don't make all the necessary referrals and help you in every way possible.
Thank you for that. And I think that's where, just from a student point of view, and I know I'm speaking for a lot of students right now, but a lot of teachers or staff members or principals or vice principals, they like, I don't want to be,
okay.
I don't want my words to be misconstrued, but like abuse their position as far as like knowing they have authority and taking that and running with it. And I feel like they will see like, okay, you could tell us what to do without telling us what to do, if that makes sense. Like it will touch us so much better if it was, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
I get you.
Okay, for example, go sit down somewhere rather than, can you please take a seat here? Like, and then our respect will grow for you. Like, as much as they think, oh, I'm an adult, I don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I say I feel like they abuse it. So I agree with you when you said, like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain
It
it.
takes it. I hear you, and again, it takes someone being able to look inside themselves and say, "It's not about my authority; it's about my approach." Those are two different things. Because you already know that I'm a vice principal. So I don't need to yell at you even more to express that. If I want you to do something, there's always a way to get someone to do something. It's in how you speak, and that's everyday life. I have a landlord that I deal with, and I know he knows I'm a vice principal and I have that, but we have a relationship based on how I speak to him. I get more things done with honey than I do being angry and being nasty. And as upset and aggravated as I am, there's a way to express that without coming off in a way that just turns that person completely off altogether. So again, it's your approach. It's your approach.
Yes, because then kids get labeled disrespectful when they
Right.
feel some type of way and retaliate. And
Right.
it's like I'm not trying to say like it just works inside the building, but it's like the position that you hold is just for that 8 hours a day. So it's like you need to. It's not even just for us. It's like to better yourself. Like
Mhm.
if you switch around the way you're talking to us, and you'll switch around the way you're talking to the people that you encounter every other day outside of this building.
Right.
So,
Right.
but thank you for that. So
You're
now I see
welcome.
what that is.
You're
So the
welcome.
next question that I have is, what's a piece of advice that you would give to a student that wants to become a vice principal?
Keep going. Keep going. Don't give up. If this is what you know that you want deep down, because like I said earlier, it took me a couple of different paths to really get settled into one, and that's okay too. I'm grateful for all of the experiences that I've had because it molded me to where I am now, and it gave me the opportunity to have more experiences so that I'm better equipped to be where I am right now. So I would say keep going. Don't feel like you have to narrow it down right now. When you get out of high school, I got to know right now. And I think that's a misconception. You don't need to know right now. I went to college, and I'll tell you, I probably changed my majors about 3 times. I don't recommend that, but I changed it about 3 times. It was engineering, it was architect, and then it ended up being social work. So, but I'm glad I did that. I needed to know what was out there. So just move forward. If there's something that you want to explore, explore it. If there's an opportunity for a double major, even do that. Because the more you have under your belt, the more marketable you are. Do I have to stay as a vice principal? No. I could either be a principal or I could decide to go and be my own counselor and my own therapy, have my own therapy, my own office. There's so many things. I could go back and work for the state and do child abuse investigations. And that's because I kept going and I kept my options open. But as far as a vice principal, even after you get your degree, if you want to go forward and get a master's in education, that will take you there as well. There's so many different paths to this that I just want to say stay open, keep moving forward with that bachelor's degree, and then make that decision in terms of your master's and what route you want to take.
Thank you for that. I literally think you were talking to me just now, because that is me right now. I'm literally beating myself up trying to figure out what am I going to do within these
Yeah.
next few months, because I've already applied to 2 colleges and then I got accepted into them. But like the majors that I applied to, it's like I don't even know if I want to do that. When I was in middle school, I'm like, yes, I want to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a lawyer. And then it's like, I hit high school and I'm like, okay, I came to BTMF because I'm like, business. I'm thinking it's going to help me out with being a lawyer. And to be honest with you, I don't think it helped me to be a lawyer. I think it was like more like marketing. I feel like it was more in that direction than actually business. But I took a public
Mhm.
speaking class. So I think that's like what made me, okay, even as a freshman, as a sophomore, I'm like, okay, I think I still want to be a lawyer because I was taking that class. Then when I finished that class, I'm like, what do I want to do? And now I'm beating myself up, still trying to figure out what I'm going to do for college. So the fact that you just said, keep going, I'm going to keep applying for school.
Yeah, please don't beat yourself up. Yeah.
You don't understand what I be going through over here. I be like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But thank you for that. Jennifer, do you have any questions to ask?
I have to ask you one more question.
Sure.
Becoming a school vice principal a long journey?
Was it a long journey? It was a journey. But I wouldn't say it was long because it was a path that I chose. And once I realized exactly what I wanted to do in terms of leadership, I just did it and started putting my resume out there. Also, the way that I got my foot into the door was taking on little assignments or making myself available when I wasn't even asked to be. So putting yourself out there and letting people see who you are and what assets you have to offer is always the best thing. It's not always about what you know, it's about what you deliver and what you show people that you know. Because your resume could say you are A+ and you got all of these degrees, but if I can't see what's in you, if I can't see what you are able to give, I may not see you right away. So you have to show me. And that's what I've been doing, just doing little assignments throughout the district, after school programs. I ran summer school at Kennedy one year. You know, I was taking on those little assignments. And then before I knew it, I'm putting in my resume for vice principal and I got the call. So again, just make yourself marketable, put yourself out there and keep moving forward.
The next question that I have for you is, what's the most challenging task a vice principal has to face?
The most challenging task I would say is when, and I think this is probably for principals also, is when you have to somehow find a way to have your teachers buy into your vision and your plan. Because everyone is not going to go along with the way you want things to kind of run. And in order for it to be smooth, there has to be a type of meeting of the minds and an understanding. So I might come with a plan, and I might have, out of the 10 people, 3 people that don't want to do that plan and want to go against it. It's now up to me to find a way to get them to buy into that plan. And that's going to take hard work. It's going to take example. And again, it's going to take me being flexible and understanding enough to know that we all have different ways of thinking. But if I show them that this way works against what's happening or what has been going on, I'll find ways to make that happen. So sometimes that becomes a challenge and it takes away from the time of moving forward.
Thank you. And when I came up with this question, I knew it was going to have to be something with adjusting to teachers, especially if you're a new principal in our school. Like, for example, you came after there was already a vice principal. So when teachers who's been there longer than you think that, oh, okay, well, she's new here. Just like it's like with freshmen and seniors, for example. Seniors think, okay, they're gonna do things their way because freshmen is just coming in. But that when I came up with that question, I'm like, I know it's gonna have to do with something with adjusting to teachers.
And you know what? It's not even just teachers, it's also students as well, because I've gotten some pushback from students that have been there before me, or they think they've been there before me, because I actually started at Kennedy. I've just been moving throughout the district. So it's a matter of me proving that I'm not coming here to be your vice principal. I'm coming here to be your vice principal, to see what it is I can do to help you successfully graduate and make your life as easy as possible without all the uproar and the turn up that you think is going to occur between me and you. That's not what it's about at all. At all.
That was me. I was like, oh my gosh, we got a new vice principal. She thinks she's about to come here and do this and do that. That was me. I'm not
on the turn up, and I didn't come in on the turn up. I came in like, okay, what else can we do? And my biggest thing starting was, the Black History program, because when I was at Kennedy Pryor, those were the things that I was able to just take off and do. So anybody that's been there old school at Kennedy, any of the old teachers that's there, they know that that was me back in the day. So I was just so happy to be able to come back and do it again. It was a challenge to get you guys to kind of see that that's where I was coming from. And it wasn't about that hardcore discipline in your face type of thing. It was more, come on, tell me what's up. How can I help you? So thank you.
Just to clear up my behalf, I guess it was because because I know I wasn't the only one who was like giving you a hard time.
It's okay.
And this goes back to teachers being demanding or staff members in general being demanding. I guess I want to say like, it wasn't anything personal towards you. It was just like, okay, now we have somebody else, another authority figure, basically. Now we have to adjust to the way she talks to us and can't say anything back because we're going to get out of school suspension or in school suspension, or we're going to get detention. So now we just have to take it from another person. And then she's new on top of that. That's what everybody's thinking. Then she's new and she thinks she's about to come here and tell us we got to go sit there. We can't go to front cab. We got to go to back cab. So I guess that's where even though what they say, like, you got to how that saying go? Like, you have to give everybody a chance. Or, yeah, I don't know how the saying goes. It's like a long saying. Yeah, okay. So we have one more question, and
sure.
I'm going to have Jennifer ask the question.
Sure.
The question is, how should a future vice principal organize a faculty and staff meeting?
How should we organize the meetings? Well, clear communication is always at the forefront. So I'll tell you what we do now. Between my principal and myself, we talk about kind of some of the things that are important. And then, we send out an email to everyone. We let them know the date and the time, and we try to keep it as consistent as possible. Consistency and communication is key, because what we try to do, we always try to understand that our teachers are carrying a very heavy load. They have a lot of responsibilities, and they can't just be tied up in meetings all the time. They have a lot of work that goes on. And so we want to be respectful of that and their time. So when we keep it consistent, we keep our meetings as short as possible, but as informative as possible. So the key is, again, communication and consistency.
Thank you for that. And before we conclude this interview, do you have anything else you would like to say?
I actually enjoyed talking to you guys, and I thank you for even considering having me. I was kind of nervous about this. I was like, I don't like cameras, but I'll try this. I feel like I'm being interviewed all over again. But no, this was great. And I just want to say to you guys, keep up the good work. You guys are doing great. And I appreciate you welcoming me into the family now that you know me.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your experience and your journey as a vice principal for our audience today. I know it will be very beneficial for students who are watching that want to become a vice principal. To my BTMF classmates, see you in the next episode of Virtual Career Fair.